I'm Sandi Toksvig, and this is What the Dickens, a show that believes in the old adage, leave the audience wanting more. So thank you and good night. With Chris Addison tonight is a journalist and TV presenter who is now so successful in his own right, he no longer gets introduced as Alan Coren's son. So please welcome Victoria Coren's brother, Giles. And with Sue Perkins is a comedian who includes a Confuse the Teacher feature in one of her shows, in which she reads out a random word for young listeners to include in their homework. It's a game that some presenters try to play on TV shows, Giraffe, though they're always too subtly done for anyone to notice. Ladies and gentlemen, Josie Long. The first round is called 3 Steps to Heaven. Our teams are shown 3 images in turn, each offering a clue to a famous film, book, play or musical. 3 points are awarded should they guess the answer from the incredibly difficult first image, reducing to just 1 for the, oh, so easy third picture. So Chris and Giles, get us underway. Here is your first picture clue. It's a woman, I can tell you, she's mashing potatoes.
That's Melissa Joan Hart, who is Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Does she work in the kitchen in her off hours?
Well, possibly this is what witches have to do. Maybe she's got a wand stuck.
It's obviously not mash because you said it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but I'm telling you that the mash is the important bit. Is
it Toy? Is it? Wait,
yes.
I think it's Toy Story 3.
Right.
The Death of Mr. Potato Head.
Oh, don't! That's horrible. I love Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, he's excellent with a little butter.
Oh no, it's not that.
I think it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You are absolutely right. 3 points. This game will be over in no time. What gave it away? I mean,
it was because the only thing that I remember is your man Richard Dreyfuss making the mountain out of mashed potatoes. That's the only thing I remember about that film. I was going to say Richard Digance, but that would have been a very different film.
Totally different kind of film.
Show us what the other pictures were.
Well, let's have a quick look at the other pictures.
Smug.
World War II pilot and his aircraft. Let's have a look at the third. I like this. Okay, it's a cup and saucer, but where is it? And what is the saucer doing?
It's flying.
It's flying. It's clever, isn't it?
A flying saucer. That's very good, yeah.
So let's just sum up. The answer was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In the film, Roy piles spoons full of mashed potato onto his plate, sculpting it into the shape of the mound in his visions. The airmen and aircraft represent the lost World War II aircraft found at the start of the film, and the saucer on the plane is a flying saucer. I think it's the very first time I've given 3 points, so well done there, Chris. Terrific. In Close Encounters of the Third Kind, aliens communicate with humans through music, much like Andrew Lloyd Webber does. Over to you, Sue and Josie. Here is your first picture clue. If you get it straight away, I may have to kill you.
Is this Rosie Boycott plays Spot the Vegetable?
Boris Johnson trying to work out why he can't light his cigar. We've got the lovely Boris Johnson. We've got the lovely Rosie Boycott. What are they holding? I think the thing is critical.
So the carrot is key.
The carrot is key.
Oh, the carrot's key.
It's not the colour of the carrot, just the carrot.
A London carrot.
Cockney carrot, Camberwell carrot, which would be...
Oh my God, no!
Is it really the Camberwell carrot?
Yes.
Which is, I can't remember. Don't you tell me. Yes, it is. That's the name of it. With Nail and I.
We're doing absolutely right.
God, what a steal!
That's right.
That's right, Addison. So you're saying the mayor is rolling a fat one for Rosie?
Yes. Well, let's have a look at the second picture, which I think would have been helpful. Lots of delicious cakes there. In one memorable scene, Withnail demands cakes whilst drunk in a tea room, and the Lake District is where the principal characters go on holiday by mistake. This is unbelievable. 3 points to Sue and Josie. Withnail and I, of course, features the infamous Camberwell carrot. I don't know exactly what it is, but it makes a marvellous soup. It's very Moorish. Do you know that drug thing has never worked for me? I have once in my life had a cannabis joint. A friend of mine thought I was...
Did you find it hard to purchase such a thing?
You've got that the Tory politician's dictionary of drug abuse.
Could I have... Yes, a cannabis joint, please.
I was offered some cocaine powder, but I thought, no, I'll go with the cannabis joint.
A marijuana reefer, isn't it?
Yes, the reefer was also good. Somebody proffered me amphetamine, and I said no. I shan't have that because I have a cannabis joint.
The next round is called Love It or Loathe It. Our guests have chosen something or indeed someone from the arts world which they either love or loathe. They must spend a minute trying to be equally convincing on both sides of the argument, and then the other team have to guess whether they either genuinely love or loathe their chosen subject. So Giles, you are up first. What is your chosen subject?
I've chosen Philip Roth.
Okay, and are you going to love or loathe Mr. Roth to begin with?
I'll love him first.
You'll love him first. Okay, you have 1 minute starting
How do
now.
I know when the minute's finished?
I will tell you, darling. Trust me. I'm like a fierce nanny.
Is it like
in this program.
countdown? Will it go tock, 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 tock,
No, no, sadly not. But you'll tell.
Okay, leap in if it's going wrong.
There'll be a grim look in my eye.
Okay, can I say masturbation?
You just did.
Right. Okay, well, Philip Roth is...
Sorry, you've already used 20 seconds. So.
Excellent. Philip Roth, I love Philip. Partly it's by default. He's an enormous master writer, and we English people, and as someone who reviews books and stuff in England and is English written the odd novel, we don't have anything big. We don't have any... Our concerns are so parochial now. We have no great novelists. We have an excellent sort of second rank of Ian McEwan and Julian Bartley. They have these huge writers, and they did until recently have three. They had Bellow and Roth and Updike. He has been served well by the death of the other two, Philip Roth, and he's now... stands alone. He started in 1957. He wrote books which were about a young Jewish writer preoccupied with masturbation. And speaking as a young Jewish writer preoccupied with literature, he became a very important sort of like fatherish sort of figure to me and in my imagination. And then he covered all sorts of different sort of subjects as time has gone on, and he's not even won the Nobel Prize yet, which he ought to have done, and he covers all sorts of questions of identity and race and masturbation, and the struggles of a man to have sex and be happy about it. And
that's my grim look I'm giving it to you there. Because
he's not doing so badly, or because
it's
near the end?
Your minute's up. Your minute is up. So you love him.
Fine, I love him.
Okay, you now have 1 minute to loathe Philip Roth.
What an incredibly tedious, boring man. He's written 35 novels, all basically the same. He begins his career as a young Jewish man desperate to have sex with whoever he possibly can, but he never can, and they never want to, and when he does, he gets it wrong because he suffers from premature ejaculation and all kinds of sexual taboos and techniques and hang-ups. Now he's an 84-year-old Jewish man still trying to get laid all the time, but he can't do it because obviously he's a bit too old to do it, and so he's jealous of all the young men who he imagines having done it when they were his age, but he never did, and he can't get over it. His preoccupations are entirely parochial. He's been obsessed all his life with being better than John Updike, better than Saul Bellow, never was. He writes about baseball, he writes about the Vietnam War, he writes about sex, he writes a little bit about Israel, and then he comes back and starts again and does the same thing over and over and over again. He's so arrogant that on the dust jacket to his books, which I assume he must write himself, he says, Philip Roth is the only living author to be honoured with a complete set of works published by the National Library of America. The set will be complete in 2012, and I'm certain he's going to be dead by then, so it won't count.
Okay, it is decision time. Does Giles Coren love or loathe Philip Roth?
I think he was much more convincing than he did loathing, but I sort of think he's double bluffing. I sort of think, because I know we like the same sort of book, I think he's right in the sense that some novels have become a little narrow and a little shrunken, and that Philip Roth still paints, whether you like him or not, and some books I hate.
So big and long and tedious.
It's a big canvas, it's a universal sweep.
Right,
it's
before
big
we
strokes.
Complete the Philip Roth Memorial Lecture, love or loathe?
I think Sue loves Philip Roth.
I've never had a disagreement about a book with Giles yet. I say he loves it.
Josie, you happy to go with that?
Of course. Absolutely.
We go for love, Giles. Oh, well done, girls. Terrific. So Sue and Josie get 2 points there. In 1969, Roth's most popular novel, the sexually comedic Portnoy's Complaint, was banned in Australia, much to the disappointment of the Australian literati, both of whom had been really looking forward to reading it.
Shame on you, Sandy. Shame on you.
Josie, it's your turn. What have you chosen to love and to loathe in turn?
The novel Crime and Punishment.
The novel Crime and Punishment. Are you going to love or loathe to begin with?
I think I'll loathe it first and then love it.
All right, my darling, you start by loathing Crime and Punishment now, please.
The thing about Crime and Punishment is it is so tedious. I've only managed to get halfway through it. He's done a crime, don't tell me what happens next. Don't ruin it. The thing is, it's so tedious, I wish I'd given up halfway through, because there's a 50-page lull, distinctly. After the whole crime bit, there is just a bit that is 50 pages where nothing happens, and you're going, why am I punishing myself in this fashion over and over again? There's a quote in the book on about page 277, and what it says is that, imagine if infinity, instead of being massive, 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 was like being trapped in a tiny little bathhouse full of spiders. And that's what this book is like. It's claustrophobic, it's horrible, and all of the women in it are totally passive. All of the women in it are like, well, just have my life, you creepy murderer, which is completely not real. The only murderer that I would devote my life to is Ted Bundy, because he was good looking, am I right?
Right, Josie, you now have to switch your allegiance, and please will you love Crime and Punishment?
Ladies and gentlemen, Crime and Punishment, what a bloody classic, am I right? I'm right. Crime and Punishment, it's a classic. It might as well be called Rhyme K and Punishment Pay, which is Latin, if you know. It is, firstly, Raskolnikov, what a classic name. I don't see why more people haven't named their children Raskolnikov. There's a really fantastic quote. It's claustrophobic, it's intense, it's frightful, it's dark, and it's rocketing along. It's just a proper page-turner, but it's intellectual and it's fascinating. There's a really wonderful quote that got me through living in a horrible flat when I was growing up, which is, low ceilings and cramped rooms crush the mind and the spirit, which is, you know, it's always good to have a little quote to sound clever at parties and stuff. There's loads of killing. There's loads of killing, if you like killing. It's terrifying, it's dirty, you know, it's brilliant, it's fantastic.
Okay, we're finished there. Have you got a question before you have to make up your mind?
If you love Crime and Punishment so much, why don't you go and live there? Sorry, I've been reading the Daily Mail.
Do you think... Have you read any of his other books?
Yes.
I was waiting for her to say whose.
Oh, no, maybe.
She gave it away there. Yeah, it's just a love, isn't it?
We probably both think.
Yes.
Yeah, we think.
In fact...
Yeah. They're voting for love. Have you got love in your envelope? Yes! Yeah. Well done. Crime and Punishment author Fyodor Dostoevsky once said, far worse than the socialist who is an atheist is the socialist who is a Christian. Well, it's almost as if he knew Tony Blair. I can tell you at the end of that round, it's 5 points each. It's time for a quick break now, but in the meantime, can you at home answer this question? What inspired Dostoevsky to write The Gambler while still working on Crime and Punishment? We'll give you the answer on our return.